not, because Africa is not a physical place. I'll repeat what Speech from Arrested Development said. Africa is inside me. Africa is in here and in here. Africa is not the soil. That's why when you take Africans out of the African continent, you don't break us from Africa, you expand. They didn't take people away from Africa. They spread Africans all over the world. We're still Africans. So no, and the reason why I say the Europeans, even though humanity originated on a landmass we now call Africa, they are not Africans. Because when they migrated from the landmass we now call Africa, it was not Africa. There were no African languages, there were no African cultures, there were no African people. Africa only came into existence when we started developing language, culture, rituals, myth, folklore, traditions, rituals. That's what Africa is. It is a collection of the culture and the mores cultivated by people on the African continent. So you can't be identified as an African outside of Africa unless you left Africa after it became Africa. They were just people traveling on land masses. Same thing as a European. That's why when Europeans came to the New World, they didn't become Native Americans. Your land doesn't define you as human beings. So my ancestors were brought from Africa and became Africans in America. They became part of the African diaspora. Europeans who migrated from Africa prior to Africa being created, leaving Africa without any African culture, are not African. They're Europeans in Europe. And even when they came to the Americans, they came European Americans, German Americans, Irish Americans. So no. And I get tired of these silly people saying all people are African. Because guess what? Before we even got on the landmass called Africa, our ancestors go further back, came out of the ocean. Life began in the oceans. All life began in the ocean. Am I a fish because my ancestors can be traced back to the ocean? No. That don't make me a fish. So no. Europeans are no more Africans than I am a fish. Even though I can trace my most primitive ancient ancestors back to the ocean, and they can trace their most primitive their most primitive ancestors back to a landmass that came to be known as Africa, don't make them Africans. No, Europeans are not Africans, nor are they descendants of Africans. Europeans are Europeans. But the worm ice age, yeah, they did get caught in a ice age. I did a book review of the Iceman's Inheritance that talked about how being in a their Arctic evolution impacts their behaviors and their social relationships to this day. So go check out the Iceman's Inheritance, the book. And if you can't get the book, just go to my YouTube, like, share, subscribe, and check out my review of that. And the book reviews are coming back. And what's up?